Hey, hello there. My name is Isma. So this is part 2 of our training series, making this scene here. And what we're doing is making these tiles here. So we ended up doing this, and let's remove this array for now. We want to make a single tile like this, and so let's just reduce the size of this. Let me first move this so that it's in the same position as this, and so this I'll just eyeball this. So one tile should be around this size, because you can see there are not so many in this row. So then let's add an array. 2, 3, 4. Maybe let's increase the size so that it's around there. And now we need another array. So but for that, let's first apply this array, then go to edit mode, select everything, then shift D, and then move this to the top, and then move this so that they're in the center of every block. So we have something like that. I think this bevel is a bit too much, so I'll reduce it further, so something like that, because you don't want it to be the same size as these large blocks. So we still lack a block here, so I'll just select this last block, shift D to duplicate it in the X direction, and then move it like so, and then select this here. So I think I only duplicated the front face. So what I can do is I'll just delete all these vertices, and basically what we'll have is something that looks like this. And then instead of just extruding everything, I'll just use a solidify modifier. So this will give it some thickness, but this should be above the bevel for the bevel to work. This should be above the bevel. Make sure you switch it on, it's not off. So we have our tiles. Again, this side also has to be the same, so it should be at the same level. And just to make sure that is true, you can just scale them by zero, so we have something like that. I'm not sure about the distance between the two, so I'll just select them again, and then let's first turn off solidify and bevel, and just make sure that there is really small gaps between there is not a lot of gap between them. Also, I think there is a lot of distance between the two. So yeah, so we have this here, and this is our tiles. So now we can just use the array to make more tiles. So this should be in the Z direction, so let's increase the count to something like that. And I think this should begin on the floor like that. One more. Bring them here. And then we just need to duplicate this again. I'll just use Alt D to make an instance, and then rotate this 90 degrees. And just to make sure that it snaps directly onto the wall, what I'll do is just, you can select this, the face, and then Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift S, select the object, Shift S, selection to cursor. But the problem with that is it will just snap to the top here, which is more work than just dragging it directly there. Then we have that. So we need a window somewhere here, so let's add that in. So I'll just add a loop, then add a loop, then 2 more. That is going to be our window. Then extrude this out in the X direction, delete that face. But we need also the same window bit through our tiles. So an easy way to do this is by using the boolean. So let's select this face here, Shift D, and then P to separate that into its own object. Let me move the cursor to origin, to geometry origin. Let me hide everything but this here, and go to edit mode, make this a face and this into a face. So let's unhide everything, select this object, select this face here, make sure it goes through this here, and we can select this, and after all these modifiers we can add the boolean modifier and then select this as our object. Now if we hide this, you can see we have our window quite easily. Now that's exactly what we want, so we have something like that. What we are left with is this part here. I don't know what it's called, but that should be easy. We can just add a loop around here. And I think this should also go all the way to this side, but I don't know why this is just ending here. So let me see. Let me unhide everything. Can just add a loop here and then make sure that it's aligning with this vertex. Now the best way to make sure of that is by selecting that loop and the other loop and then scaling them to 0 so they match. And now to join this part, I think there is a gap here. Okay, so we just select these two and then hit J to connect them like that. And now what we need to do is select this here, then make sure you apply scale and rotation. This will help you when you're extruding or making bevels in your object so that you get the best calculation for that. So let's extrude along normals, then hit E. So this should be around there. But now this is the faces we have at the bottom are intersecting with this here. I think just so we don't have to worry about simple things like this, I'm going to separate this here. So hit P to separate this so into its own object, and then reset the origin to geometry, and then hide this. Then we can bridge these two. Bridge like that, and we are good to go. Let's look at this again and hide, and you can see what we have now. There is a gap here. I don't know what's causing that, so let's oh, it's just this I guess we need to push it in a bit. Let me look at the bottom here. So push that in the X direction just a bit so that it's not coming through up there. And you can see how using this instead of using a bump map or a normal map is giving us that detail that we wouldn't have got using bump maps. So sometimes it's better to model everything instead of model some things that you could get away with just using bump maps. So because you may miss out details you would have got by modeling that. So yeah, let's see what else we can do before I end this part. let's add these glass windows, so, or doors, I think they're doors. So let's add, go to front view, shift A, let me reset the cursor there, shift A, rotate 90 degrees. I'll rotate this 90 degrees again for this side, and can move this around there. Then this, go to edit mode. So you can see that this door doesn't go all the way to the top, so we can also do the same. Move this around here. And what about the bottom? It also doesn't go all the way to the bottom, so it goes to around there. And that's it. But it's not just a single plane, it has some thickness. So let's add a solidify modifier to this. Solidify modifier. I think that's, maybe increase that a bit. Apply scale and rotation, and then so this is too much thickness, so I will reduce that to around there, and then add a bevel modifier, then increase the segments. You see, sometimes when you zoom in, when you're trying to edit something, you will get this because you will get this clipping because your viewport camera has a small clipping. So you can change that under the view settings here. So you have clip start and clip end. So you can reduce that, and you should have that, and that will make it easier when you zoom in. You won't see that clipping, but you can also change from perspective mode. So if you hit 5, you can remove perspectiveness, and that will mean that it doesn't matter how much you zoom in, you will always see that part you are zooming into. So let's go back to perspective. That's a simple trick for you. And let's increase maybe the thickness a bit, and reduce the bevel. Again, I'm holding down Alt, I'm holding down Shift to increase the values in small increments. So we have that, and we need another one. Let me increase the solid, this thickness a bit, like that. Then Shift D to have that. I'll also make it a bit somehow open. So also let me change the pivot point to this point, so that the actual pivot point is there, and it will make it easier for us to rotate this. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and then origin to 3D cursor. Now if I rotate this, just have it rotated just a bit like that. Now we need to add these, I don't know how they call them, how you call them, but so for that, let me add a plane. Maybe let me add a cube, and scale it down to around there, and move it so that it's in the center like that, and then scale it in that axis, that direction, and I go to edit mode, select this face, move it up to the wall like that, and now we can select this face like this, delete that, and you can select those two edges, hit Shift B to bevel them. If your bevel looks like this, it means that your scale and rotation is a bit off, so you need to apply scale and rotation. Now if we bevel, you can see we're getting a much better bevel. So turn on smoothing for this, and also give them a solidify modifier, so some thickness like that. And just to make this a bit fancy, I'll select these two vertices, hold and Ctrl Shift B to bevel the edges, so we have something like that. And the smooth smooth shading that I've added is kind of messing up the shape, so I'll just go under the objects settings here and go under normals and turn on auto smooth, something like that. Now we can even be more fancier and add in those, how are they called, bolts or nails. So I can just select this edge here, shift S, cursor to selected, then maybe move the cursor around there and then add a circle, align to view, scale it down, scale the radius down. We need only 6 edges or vertices, then extrude. So the problem with this is that because we have the solidify modifier, it's going to mess up our shape. So what we can do is apply, before we add that, you know what, you can't see them in the reference image. I don't know why I'm adding them here, so let me not add more detail that we're not going to see. Move this to position, so move this amp, go to edit mode, shift D, move this down like so. I think these are a bit longer, so I can just go to top mode, wireframe, then select these and push them like that. And I think they're also narrower, so I can just select everything, change the pivot point to individual origins, and then scale them. This will allow me to scale them differently, so individually, so median point, and then yeah, we have this right now. So in the next tutorial we'll start working on maybe this furniture set, vanity here, and then maybe the mirror, and yeah, thank you.